Hello, everybody, and welcome to this new episode of Spanish Loops. Hola, Jorge.
Hola, Fran. How are you doing today?
Doing good. Let's put some intro music.
Why not? Here we go.
Hello, everybody, to this new episode of Spanish Loops. This is Francisco from Traveling Steps, and on the other side, we have Jorge. Hola, Jorge.
Hola. How are you doing?
We have Jorge from travelingwithjorge.com.
That's right. Thank you. And Francisco, travelingsteps.es. I just
There we go.
panicked for a minute.
Anyway, so Jorge and I, we have been guides for many, many, many years now. And one of the things that shocks us or drives us a little crazy when we guide Americans or Canadians, and you go to a cafe and they say, "Hey, do you want a coffee?" Yes. What do you want? A coffee. Silence. We
Crick,
don't
crick,
get
crick,
it.
crick, crick.
And if you're, but I mean, have you seen the face of the waiter when people say coffee?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Okay.
Coffee. Could you specify about what type of coffee? So this is the topic we're going to bring today to the waves. We're going to be trying to explain all the different varieties. So how can you order the coffee you want to the waiter? Don't just say cafe. You
Yeah.
need to specify what type of cafe.
That's true. That's right. Yeah. And we're not going to get into these new big multinational channels that they sell coffees all over the world and they have so many variations that they sell them in tanks like
No, no,
this.
no, no.
No,
We're
no,
not going to
no.
teach you how to order
No.
espresso latte macchiato
No, no,
venti
don't
with.
say the name of
Yep.
the
We're not
because
going to say the name of the
they're
company.
not
Nope.
sponsoring. If they want to sponsor, they're very welcome. Then we
Ooh,
will mention
if
their
you
name.
want to sponsor a company, we'll talk about you. No.
That's right.
Anyway, so why don't we start from the very beginning, Jorge?
Yeah.
Why don't you enlighten us a little bit about coffee, general coffee? When did it arrive into Spain? History of coffee. Bring us a little bit of light into the coffee world.
Okay, so prepare your light bulbs and well, I mean, originally it is said that the coffee, many people have that distorted idea it comes from America, but it's not. It comes from Africa, more precisely the area where today is Ethiopia. That's where it is believed that the original coffee comes from the area of the world nowadays, and it was discovered around the 11th century. And they were, I mean, the coffee grains as we know them today, they are seeds that they are inside of a fruit. Okay. And I mean, just like anything else in the world and human history, that we have developed a sense of survival in how to roast a chicken, in how to cook, I don't know, a goat if you were farmers, and how to grow plants, etc., etc. This way, just from out of a seed and out of that tiny little kind of fruit, kind of a cherry like, okay?
Mhm.
How to convert that in something that's to people like me, I am a dead person. I haven't had three or four every morning.
To me, I just think personally, it's the thought that I'm gonna have a coffee that wakes me up.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
need to have one cup of coffee to put my brain into processing, and that from that I'm okay. But before coffee, I'm a very social person. I can talk very nice, ha ha ha, but I have no idea. I have no clue what I'm saying. So it's like, feed me coffee, talk to me later.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if I should say this or not, but sometimes when I'm touring with groups, is in my um first morning with people and they are all eager to have questions, etc., etc. I normally have to say to them, I said, listen, your question is so interesting, I'd love to answer, but my wires are not plugged in yet because I still have my coffee and my hand is shaking like this, you know. It's
Oh,
like,
to
just give me a few minutes and I'll be back to you.
okay, I'm worse than that. I have to say it the day I meet my groups. I always
Yeah.
tell them, if you in the morning, if you come for an interesting question, wait until I have coffee. I put it up front because I cannot function without coffee.
You're a terrible friend.
I know, I need, but I just need one. After that, I'm okay. I don't need any more coffee
Uh-huh.
during the day.
No, I
But
need
that
more than
wake up call
I
is
need
what I
more
need.
than one. More than one, I have to admit.
I know you. I've been around you early in the mornings.
Hey, in family and things purposes, don't think anything else, all right?
I don't know. No, no, you fool.
No.
Anyway,
You said it, not me.
so coffee comes from Ethiopia.
Yeah, that's right. And believe it or not, it helped a lot that invasion that we suffered in the Iberian Peninsula that we have mentioned so many times in this podcast, which is the 7-11, when the Tariq crossed the Strait of Gibraltar, invaded the Iberian Peninsula, a little bit of east of France. And because I mean, coming from Africa, they were coming from north of Africa, but that created in a long term a path to have the coffee grains imported into Europe. Okay, and it was around the year 1600. That was more or less the time. And now regarding Spain, I have to say that it was in the year. Oh my goodness, 1778, I think it was, that the very first coffee bar, if you want to call it like that, was opened in Madrid. And guess by whom?
Well, 1778. I don't know. The king?
Two Italian brothers.
Oh, okay, kind of makes sense.
That's right. And they were the brothers, I have to read the name, Gipini. Okay, and they got the Spanish nationality and they got Spanish names. I cannot remember their names, but yeah, they opened the very first one. But a few years before, because we had that territory that we have mentioned in a podcast dedicated to the Canary Islands,
Mhm.
which is like about almost 3 hours from Madrid, flying south into the Atlantic, middle of central Atlantic, is tropical weather. So it was the King Charles III that it was in July 1765 who ordered to plant cafetos, which are the bush or the tree, if you want to call it, that grows the coffee. Nowadays, the coffee production in Canary Islands is limited, but it is excellent, absolutely beautiful. Every time I go there, you know, I'm a lover of the Canary Islands and discovering
Yes, you are.
those beautiful islands. Yeah, the local coffees are, oh my God, but because of the lack of terrain, because everything is very hilly, mountainous, rocky, etc. They have to grow it in like balconies around in the sides of the hills, so they don't have much large production. Here in Madrid, where I live, there is a couple of shops that they are selling Canary products like wine, cheeses, some food, spices, endemic from there,
Okay.
and also the coffee. I have to tell you, it has a special thing. It must be the volcanic thing. And yeah, that's a little bit about the history of how the coffee was introduced in Spain. Now, Francisco, why don't we just teach our listeners here when you get into a coffee store? Doesn't matter. I mean, let's specify clearly again, if you agree, that for us, a bar, cafeteria, a tavern is practically the same. It's just
Yeah.
the name, but they can be open
Yes. I
from
mean, I
very
think you're
early in the
right because
morning, right?
a lot of people say bar equals alcohol.
Yeah.
Here in Spain, cafeterias can serve wine and beer
And meals.
and meals, but also coffees.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the mixture of Spain having all these tapas bars where you can, go for breakfast. You're gonna have some churros with coffee or chocolate. Then you're gonna have tapas. Then you're gonna have a meal. Then you're gonna have the afternoon chocolate. Then you're gonna have a dinner.
Yeah,
So
it depends on the time of the day that you go, they serve one thing or another.
yeah. So when our listeners, I think that's a great idea, Jorge, to clarify. When our listeners come to Spain, if you see a bar, it's not an alcohol. I mean, there's going to be alcohol being served, but it can also be a cafeteria.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So how do you order Okay, first of all, let's make things clear because you are from a part of the world that's more difficult than any other. I don't know how to order coffee in your hometown of Malaga.
You mean Malaga?
I mean, Malaga, it's insane. I mean,
It is. But Francisco, before getting into that, because I think that we're gonna crack our lower backs laughing today about how to order coffee in Malaga. Why don't we go a little bit generic? I mean, if you want
okay,
a
let's go
black
for the
coffee, if you want
basics.
an espresso, everybody knows what espresso is.
Yes, you
Okay.
okay. So if somebody wants espresso, you can
Hmm.
ask for espresso. Everybody knows how to in Spanish, but we say it solo, solo,
That's
solo, which
right.
is alone,
That's
lonely.
right.
Okay, so
Lonely,
if you just
alone.
want solo, oh
So
solo
yeah.
mio. No, okay,
Or you can say espresso, and totally understand what it is. Okay.
there we
So
go.
if you just want a coffee with milk, how would you say that in Spanish?
Un solo.
No, I mean coffee with milk.
Mm, coffee with milk. Sorry. So coffee with milk can be a large coffee with milk or a petite coffee with milk.
Okay, perfect. That's a
Okay,
very, very, very important thing to have specified here. That's
we
right.
need to specify if you
Yeah.
want a shot of coffee and a drop of milk, just like a macchiato. See, is that how Italians call it?
To be
Macchiato?
honest, you got me on that. I have no
Okay,
idea
okay. So yeah,
because
let's take the
I
Italian out
have
of
to
our
tell
way.
you, you know, but people don't know. I am allergic to liquid milk.
Yeah.
Okay, it might be something in the liquid milk that I cannot have it. So, give me cream, give me cheeses, give me any dairy products. I love them, but just milk is something that I can't with it.
Okay.
I
So
can't bear with it.
if you want a shot of coffee and a drop of milk, you call it cortado.
Hmm. That's right. Yeah.
Cortado means you cut. So you cut the darkness of the black coffee with a drop of milk.
Hmm.
Okay, so you call that cortado.
Hmm.
If you want a large coffee with a lot of milk, okay,
Well, no, but let's get into those little specifications later on because that has a lot to do with the Malaga thing. So if you just want just coffee, just not an Americano, but Spanish standard black coffee, would you say solo,
espresso or solo.
solo, largo?
I
Uh,
would I I think it's easier if we say solo,
yeah,
cortado,
yeah,
americano, and con
yeah.
leche. Those are to me the
Okay.
four basic ones.
Yeah, in a
That
way
it,
you are real right. Yeah, my apologies.
okay,
Yeah.
so let's
Yeah.
try to make this easy for our listeners.
Mm.
Espresso, we say either espresso or solo. Espresso with a drop of milk, cortado. A larger espresso with a lot of milk, con leche. Okay. And if you want, we don't have here drip coffee. So the thing that is more similar to a drip coffee, which is a shot of coffee and extra water, we call it Americano.
You s- You know
Wow.
what? I'm laughing so much because you just started this paragraph that say, let's make this easy for our listeners. And I think they are even more puzzled right now.
No, it's we only have espresso, espresso with a
Okay.
little bit of milk,
Yeah.
espresso with a lot of milk, and espresso with water.
Okay.
That's the four words they need to
All
know.
right. Good.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's solo,
Yeah.
cortado,
Yeah.
cut, con leche with
Yeah.
milk, with a lot of milk,
Yeah.
or Americano with extra water.
Okay. Perfect. So, what type of coffee do you drink in the morning, Francisca?
In the mornings, you have only café con leche.
That's what you drink.
Yeah, but yes, that's
Okay.
what I have.
Let's
But
say half coffee, half milk in volume.
yes, yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'll let you know in a few minutes why I'm specifying this. I have a double espresso. That's my
Solo, doble.
no.
It's
I'm
double
sorry.
espresso.
Solo doble. Yeah, that's right. Oh, I'm getting it
Okay.
now. I mean, even we get confused about it.
Yeah.
That's right. I have a double espresso, which is a solo doble in Spanish. Okay.
Hmm.
It's not an Americano because
No,
Americano is espresso with shots
extra
of
water.
water. Okay. So it's not Americano. So that's what I have the first thing in the morning. And then the second one the first one has to be that, and I could kill for one of those, if I go to a place and they'll have it's like, excuse me, you know. But
Solo doble.
yeah, and then my second one then is an espresso with an extra shot of water, but a very small amount of water. Very, very small, okay, like half the size of espresso, and so on. My third or even fourth coffee. But don't give me a coffee after 10, 11 in the morning, because then I can notice that my sleeping cycle,
Wow.
yeah, oh, yeah, 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 yeah. I mean,
I mean, if I have a coffee after 4 o'clock in the afternoon,
oh, I love to have coffee at that time because I just love coffee. I mean, to me, it's after the sliced bread, to me, it's the best invention in the world.
so the thing is, Jorge, that when you ask me about what do I have in the morning, I have café con leche, coffee with milk. But please, dear listeners, if you ask for a café con leche after lunch, they will look at you funny because we think café con leche is only for the morning.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna do it to you, but it's like, are you for real? Like, do you really want café con leche, coffee with milk, a large coffee with milk after lunch? For us, that is very, very weird to order.
It's like a breakfast thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a breakfast, mid-morning, that's it.
But in the other hand, haven't you noticed that it's more accepted to have just a black ordinary coffee after lunch?
Yes. Just shot of coffee or shot of coffee with a little bit of milk. So
Hmm.
after lunch, normally everybody gets espresso
Yeah.
or cortado. Those are the
Right.
two options after lunch. I
Right.
mean, they can do everything, but they will be like, what? What?
Yeah. Yeah.
What
It's
are you
like
asking for?
out
It's
of
like,
time.
oh,
What time do you wake up today? Yeah, something like
that's
that.
like, what? What's going on here?
Yeah.
So those are, let's say, the basic ones.
Yeah.
Okay. There are two words that people might also want to learn. One is descafeinado, decaf.
Decaf. Yeah.
Okay. So decaf, if you say decaf, they will understand.
Yeah.
But don't just say decaf. You need to specify what type of decaf you want. I want a
Black or white.
espresso decaf or con leche decaf.
Yeah.
And as you say, you are not milk tolerant, so you can also order soja. We say instead of soya,
Yeah.
we say soja.
Soja milk. Yeah. Soya milk. Soy milk.
Right now, at this moment in Spain, I would say that in every bar, cafeteria, and everything, you will find a vegetable
Option.
option. You can
Hmm.
be walnut or soya or any other milk.
Yeah.
If you're very picky, I want soya or I like almond or I like. If you are intolerant to milk, be grateful if they have at
Yeah. That's
least
true.
one option.
That's
Okay,
true.
because they will have one option,
Yeah.
not two or three. Okay,
Yeah.
so they're not gonna
That's true.
have, I don't know, strange milks around.
Yeah.
But those are, I think, the basic ones.
Hmm.
Yes, there are many other options. You can ask it on, on a glass. You can ask it on the basic ones. Those four:
Hmm.
solo, cortado, con leche, and americano. Those are the four you need to learn.
That's right.
But
Unless.
unless you go to Malaga.
That's right. That is nuts. Guys, buckle up because this is really it could be called funny, quirky, special. I'm not gonna say the word stupid because I am from Malaga, but I mean for foreigners and people who don't know, even Spaniards.
For
Yeah,
not for foreigners, for somebody that is not from Malaga.
yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
I mean,
Correct.
to me,
Correct.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I just want coffee. He's like, give me drugs.
Okay, let's start from the basic. I mean, whether it is black or not, milk is part of the coffee in the sense of the beverage. Okay, so you have just the regular glass of milk. If you want a glass of milk to in a bar, you just order a glass of milk, and by default they will give you hot unless you specify I want a glass of cold milk. Okay,
Mhm.
so that is the basic glass of milk. Now, This is when you have to hold your horses because now there is some curves coming around, or curves, I better say. Leche manchada. Leche manchada literally in English means stained milk.
So
So,
I
what it comes to
assume
your mind, Francisco, when I tell you leche manchada or stained milk?
2 shots of milk, 1 shot of coffee.
No.
God.
Is the glass of milk with literally 4 drops, 4 drops
Top,
of
top, top,
coffee.
top.
So what happened? Milk is white. But if you say stained milk, that milk won't be white anymore. It will have a kind of a shade, very pale shade.
Okay.
Okay? So it
Like
makes
leche
sense.
manchada.
It makes sense.
Okay.
But
Yes, it makes sense, but
makes sense, but it's part of the problem.
okay.
Above that, you have another one called nube. What's nube in English, Francisco?
Cloud.
Cloud. That's it. Clouds could be white or could be a little bit darker.
Yes.
So above leche manchada is the cloud. Instead of 4, there's going to be like about 10 drops of coffee.
Okay.
So it's slightly darker.
Okay.
I can see your brain's processing all
I'm trying
that.
to see what I want to order next time I go to Malaga. I'm like, what do I want? What do I want? Okay.
Now, then we have something that we call it sombra,
Shadow.
shadow or shade.
Okay.
So it's like a very, very small shot of coffee, always espresso, okay? A very, very small shot of coffee, something like about, I would say, like a fifth or a sixth of an inch in the container that you're drinking, whether it is a cup or a glass, and the rest is going to be milk. So it's going to be darker than the 2 previous ones.
Okay. That's a shadow. There we
That's a
go.
shadow, sombra.
Okay.
Then we have, if you just say the word short, corto, in Malaga, that means like a third of coffee and 2/3 of milk. You don't need to specify anything else. Just go into a bar. What would you like, sir? Corto, please. They know that that is 1/3 of coffee and 2/3 of milk.
Of milk.
That's right. We're talking always about the European regular
Yeah.
cup sizes.
Size.
And we're talking
Mhm.
about the double, the big ones, the big
Yeah.
cups or mugs. No, we're talking about coffee cup. Okay. Then we have, to make it more complicated, we have the extra short. So the coffee,
Okay.
the the corto was 1 coffee, 2 milks. Okay.
Yes.
The extra short means slightly larger in coffee and then fill it up with milk.
Y eso es, and you say extra corto?
No, that doesn't exist. That doesn't
Okay.
exist. Extra corto could be like a sombra, like a shadow.
I
Extra
see.
short. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
then there is another one, which is mitad. What's mitad in English?
Half. So it's half and half.
Correct. Bingo.
Okay. Now,
Half
that was
coffee,
easy.
half milk. And so you don't need to specify anything, just mitad. When you think about it, that yes, you have to memorize all this. And if you grow up like I did in Malaga, that's part of my thing. And when I go to Malaga, I know exactly what to order. And just one word, they know what it is. But to understand all that, if you're not a native, you get into trouble just trying to explain what you want if you don't say the correct word. So if you say just a largo,
Large,
long, just
long.
long, the word
Okay.
long. What do you want, sir? What do you want, madam? Oh, I just want a largo, please. That means like 2/3 of coffee, 1/3 of milk.
Okay.
Okay. So you don't
Okay.
have to specify how much is the coffee and how much is going to be the milk.
Mhm.
Just say largo, and they will give
Okay.
you that. Now, then you have the cortado. Cortado is what you mentioned before, which is either a little glass about this size, I would say like about maybe 2, maybe 3 inches
Inches.
the most. And then is everything is coffee with a little shot of milk.
Okay. So
So the
cortado is the
coffee,
same everywhere.
uh, no, not everywhere. Not everywhere.
Oh God. Malagueños.
Not everywhere, but in Malaga is. Malaga is like almost the rest of the country. And then is the coffee, instead of being black, is going to be dark brown.
Okay.
Okay, and then of course you have the espresso. But here, even though with the espresso, just the coffee, we have two versions. We have the solo, which means alone.
Hmm.
But if you want just a regular solo, they'll give you the regular solo. But if you want a short one, which is very similar to the Italian espresso, you have to specify. You have to say solo corto,
A short solo.
a short solo. That's right.
Holy moly.
But if you want what I want, which is a double espresso, then you have to say solo largo, long alone.
I think I'm gonna ask for a tea.
But now, remember a few minutes ago, you said to me that the cortado is the same all over Spain. I said, no, wait a minute. There is some sections here. If you go to Catalonia and you order a cortado, it's the opposite way. It's the equivalent to the sombra in Malaga, which is one
Okay.
third of coffee and two-thirds of milk. So it depends what you are.
Okay, but the generals are the generals.
Generals are the generals. Which is the weirdest coffee that you've ever had, whatever? Francisco,
The-
do you have any kind of something that has shocked you a lot?
well, to me, okay, we're not gonna say the name of the company,
Yeah,
but I had a pumpkin latte and
yeah.
they called that coffee. I call that a dessert. Yeah, I liked it, but I would not consider that a coffee, which is like pumpkin spice latte. What the hell is that? Doesn't taste like coffee. I don't know. It's
Hey, don't
weird.
don't don't get us wrong. It's not criticism. It's
No,
something
no,
that
no, no.
for us is something like makes no sense at all. I have to tell you that when I went to Turkey, I was expecting more than the Turkish coffee. I am so sorry for my beloved Turkish friends here, but mm,
You didn't like it?
I don't want to say that. Let's say it wasn't what I expected.
Okay.
Okay. So then the weirdest thing I ever had, and I love it. I love it. I don't know if you heard about this, and it's a Spanish thing, and more precisely from the area of Valencia on the east of Spain, facing the Mediterranean. If you say café del tiempo, you
Okay.
know what they serve you. Café del tiempo means coffee, season coffee,
Okay.
seasonal
Yeah.
coffee. I mean, tiempo is weather, but it's also seasonal. Okay. So if you say seasonal coffee, café del tiempo, what they give you is they give you the hot coffee in your cup, and then on the side, they'll give you a glass with two or three ice cubes and a wedge of lemon or two wedges of lemon in it.
Lemon for the coffee.
Lemon. And then what you do is just dissolve the sugar in the coffee. You know, if the coffee is any liquid is cold, you cannot dissolve the
Mhm.
sugar. It's very complicated. So you dissolve the sugar into the hot coffee and then pour the coffee from the cup into the glass with the ice and the wedges of lemon. Francisco, you have no idea how refreshing that is.
Okay, next time I'm going to visit Nico in our son in Valencia, I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
ask for a
Well,
café del
and
tiempo.
if you say that to any cafeteria in Valencia or bar, they're gonna say, "Whoa, somebody who
You know
knows
who
or
you
wants."
are.
Yeah, yeah. And now I mentioned that, I we both have to agree that it's a common thing now all over Spain, and I teach my travelers when we are going around, especially when it's hot, because coffee, to me, I mean, iced coffee is something that I'm not very keen on it. You know, it's too watery for me. But if you order café con hielo, coffee with ice,
Love it.
it's delicious, isn't it? And this is how they serve it, exactly the same way that we just talked about. They give you the hot coffee just to dissolve the sugar, and they give you a glass with one, two, or three chunks of ice, and then dissolve the sugar, pour it, and then keep stirring the coffee while it is in the glass with the ice, and make it really, really cold, and just drink it. And it's very,
Very
very
good.
refreshing.
And about this iced coffee, you can ask espresso iced coffee. You can have a cortado ice. You can have con leche with ice. You can have.
Ugh.
Oh, I love that one.
Do
Oh,
you? Really?
you have this big, a lot of coffee, cold, cold. I mean, I love coffee, but I have a good friend from Italy, and she said, "You don't like coffee because the people who loves coffee, they like you, black coffee. I like my coffee with milk, with sugar. This is,
Yeah.
you like candy. It's like you don't like coffee. That's how I like my coffee. I like it with my sugar, with my milk. I like it with the whole thing.
Yeah.
So once you have that sweet thing, you put
Yeah.
it in ice. Oh,
Oh,
love that one.
all right. Okay, it could be my fear to the milk, but
That could be your
yeah, I
fear
mean,
too.
if you say so, by sure, it has to be delicious, of course. Yeah. Well,
Well,
what do you think
what?
about
Okay.
yeah,
One thing. This is what we've been talking about. Coffees. The
yeah.
same pretty much applies, which is much easier with teas. When an American comes to Spain, I want a tea. What tea? You don't say just a tea. You need to
Yeah.
specify it's a black tea, if it's rooibos, if it's chamomile, if it's mint tea. Okay, so when you go to ask for a tea, you need to specify the tea. And if somebody from the UK comes here, don't ask for a tea. Okay, we have zero idea how to do tea. If you ask tea with milk, I have been served hot milk with one of the tea bags inside of the tea or
Inside
the
of the
milk. And I'm
milk.
like, what
Yeah.
the hell is this? It's like hot water, tea bag on a side, cold milk. That's
Yeah.
what I want. They don't get it. So we are very bad in Spain. We do not have the culture
Yeah.
of tea. We do
Mhm.
have very good infusions, like chamomiles, mint teas,
They're getting very popular
strawberry,
now. Cardamom,
yeah, many, many,
cinnamon
many.
with apples, and all those mixes. They are really, really good. But specifically about the tea as a drink,
Tea,
as you're saying, yes, our culture is not very
it's not.
developed.
And we don't have iced tea.
True. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
The closest to iced tea is something called,
Don't say the brand.
okay, we cannot say brands on the website. Okay, you're right. We don't have iced tea.
Is that
Okay.
other
Yeah.
international drink that
Oh, yeah.
is, industrialized and is everywhere. But let me just add just one more thing about what you said about when you got the tea bag served into the hot milk. That is a very southern thing in Spain. Although in some other places I've seen it as well. So that's why always when I notice that there is some tour members in my groups that they prefer tea to coffee, I always tell them, please pay attention with this. Just order a tea, and then once you have the tea served, ask for a little
That's,
bit of milk.
yeah.
Because if you say tea
That's,
with milk, they're gonna give you the hot milk with the tea bag inside.
yeah. That's a good tip because that way
Yeah,
you make sure that you have your tea infused
correct.
and then the drop
You
of milk.
you add the milk that you want. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right. So
that's a good tip.
that's my warning to those
Yeah.
who are into tea instead of coffee. Okay.
So
Francisco. So,
I think this is it. Let's go over the 4 words everybody needs to remember. Espresso, solo,
solo,
cortado with a little drop of milk, con leche with a lot of milk, and americano if you want something like drip coffee.
correct. Yeah, that's right.
And if our listeners want to enjoy coffee in Spain, there's 2 ways to do that. They can join your tours or my tours that
Right.
are on our websites. If you
Mhm.
want to check Jorge's tours, they are on travelingwithjorge.com. If you want to check my tours, you have to check travelingsteps.es.
And
There
for
you'll see
sure,
our
you're gonna
tours
have not only coffee, also, if you are good boys,
or girls.
chocolate with churros as well.
Okay, okay, that's another one.
Yeah,
Chocolate. Ooh. Okay,
yeah,
so people, if you want to try some of these delicacies, you may join one of our tours. Check
that's
out our
right.
websites on internet. You have all the info on both of our websites.
And also, if you want to share any experiences that you had regarding this coffee adventure, ordering a coffee in Spain, if you're in here, please share it with us in our Gmail, in our email account, which is SpanishLoops at gmail.com. And please, just we would love to hear your stories. And if you have photos, that would be great. Okay.
What else? Okay. If you like this little talk, please give us a thumb, subscribe to our channel.
Please, that helps a lot immensely. You have no idea.
So with all of this, Jorge, thank you so much for this wonderful talk today.
Thank you, Francisco. It's been a pleasure.
Coffee.
It's been a pleasure. And I'm going to have a decaf at this time of the day. Okay.
This time of the day, I'm going to have decaf con leche. That's what I'm going to have.
Okay, good. Perfect. Mine's going to be double decaf.
Double D. Okay, Jorge. See you
Bye,
next
everybody.
week, everybody. We love you.
Bye.
Adios, amigos.
Adios. And as usual, we want to thank all our listeners for being there every week, letting us sharing our talks. Follow us in Spanish Loops in Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcast, or your favorite platform.
And in Instagram, you can find us as the Spanish Loops Podcast. No spaces altogether. If you want to find us the quickest way, just Google Spanish Loops Podcast and you will find us. Hasta la vista, amigos.
See you next week.